Red iron,
Tube steel.
red iron.
Tube steel.
Let's break it down for you. We are in Citrus County today. We no longer have to introduce ourselves, but I will introduce Nick Holmes, the CEO of the contractor.
Regan Weiss.
Thank you, sir. And we're here in Citrus County, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between tube steel and red iron. Nick Holmes, take it away.
Yeah. We get asked a lot of times why we don't build houses out of the tube steel. A large portion of that is the insulation factor, that we have issues with that. But what you'll notice in this building, and we got a building right next to it that you can see the red iron steel, the difference between them, there's a lot more actual structural posts, right? So these posts are only spaced about 4 foot apart. In order to meet that same wind load, you end up with quite a bit more metal on this end. Albeit, this metal is quite a bit cheaper, okay? I mean, this here is less than $50 a square foot for the concrete, the actual building, the erection, the doors, the windows. So it's a lot more affordable. But what you'll notice in all this is that it's a lot thinner material on the outside as well. So insulating is getting to be a little bit of a problem.
But I do want to ask you, and because I'm sure the world is inquisitive, people actually do wind up living in these as well in different parts of the country. Yeah. And is it the wind code even in Florida, right?
Yeah, I mean, even in Florida, I mean, you go through Roll Highlands, there's several tube steel barndos that are up there. It's just one of those things that we're not as competitive on that price. So we'll let other people handle that end and be the purveyors of the tube steel barndos, and we'll take over the red iron stuff.
But I will tell you this, we are willing also to collaborate and work with those individuals that want to go ahead and build the metal building, and then the contractor could do the build out for the remainder of it, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's head over to red iron. Red steel. Go ahead, talk to us about it.
So when we're talking about red iron steel, you got two different parts, okay? You've got all of this interior framing that you see, which is what our girts are, okay? That's called a girt. Top ones are called purlins. And then you'll notice that on this building here, we have essentially 3 main saddles that come across, okay? So this is our actual structural column, okay? Everything else is just laced in for the actual wall and basically takes that wind load from the side panels. But your real structure is truly this beam, that beam on the end, and that beam on that
And
end.
now please explain to the audience the footing alone that goes in to stabilize these.
Yeah, so this footing here was about a 6 foot by 6 foot by 3 foot deep footing. So if you're gonna do a column footing on a block, you're normally like 2 foot, 2.5 foot.
Right.
By 12 inches deep,
Right.
Substantially bigger. You'll notice on these are much deeper than our tube steel that we saw over on the side. Even these are 8 inches deep compared to 2.5 inches over there. So what we can use these for is getting a lot more R value and actually insulation out of this entire panel here, so that you can have a conditioned space inside that you don't notice that you're inside a metal building.
Now, can you please explain to everyone, because people are concerned regarding wind code, and obviously this is actually higher than most houses in Florida.
So everything gets designed to the same wind speeds regardless of what material you're out of
Right.
or where you're building it at. But yes, steel can theoretically hold substantially higher than most other materials. On the plans, we're only going to show that it's the same thing, but again, that comes down to how much material you need. So tube steel, you saw we had a beam, like one of these, every 4 foot. We're 25 feet to the next beam on these jobs. So you can use a lot less structural material, larger material in red iron than you can in tube steel.
For people in other parts of the country, though, that always see Florida as like, oh my gosh, it's panic world down there. You know, hurricanes are always coming down there. Actually, in a tube steel, you're evacuating. In here, it's not so much, right?
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this you're safe regardless. In a lot of other parts of the country, they're more worried about snow load. So how much snow can sit on top of a roof before the roof collapses.
Right.
In Florida, our entire code is designed around wind. So it's all your windward and leeward winds on the actual building itself, and making sure that the building doesn't topple over in wind.
So explain the difference between a block house, and I know there's a lot of similarities, but when your soffit and how your wind rolls in on the soffit, goes in through the soffit, and then obviously escapes out through the vent. Explain how the difference between that and this.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ventilation methods for attics, okay? Even on a red iron building, you can still have a vented attic like that, but in most cases, like this particular house is gonna be spray foamed, okay? Even on a block home, if you're gonna spray foam your actual attic space, you're not gonna have that ventilation coming through. So the ventilation is really to go ahead and take the heat that comes in the attic and push it out of that ridge vent and get it out of the actual attic so that you have that condition difference in between the two spaces. In this particular scenario, and with a lot of Barndos that we do, we essentially try to create an entire closed system to where we don't have outside ventilation coming through to dissipate that heat. We're usually using some type of insulation or some type of actual thermal break to try to get that difference made.
Perfect. So in this particular home, let's talk about actually this design, which I really like. We talked about coming in through the bathroom, and then obviously they gave you access, or we gave them access, excuse me, to go directly right to their garage, because you'll have a washer dryer within this room.
Yep.
Obviously your 2 sinks like you were talking about, your toilet, your shower, etc. So the thought process in this square footage, I think this was like the only way we can kind of create this space, because this is just a small house. What's the square footage of this one?
I believe we're just under 1,300 square feet in this house.
So this is typically designed just for a couple, right?
Yep.
2 individuals that just want to live life and comfort and
this is it's a 2-bedroom house.
Less is more, should I say.
Yeah. What you'll see on this one is where Josh is standing over there is the living room space. All these pipes over in this corner. We're gonna have an L-shaped kitchen with an island. And then, yeah, we've got a room here that's segmented into 3 different stages with barn doors. So we have a toilet and a sink. We've got a shower and another sink, so that you have that little bit of privacy. One can be getting ready while the other person is in the bathroom.
Okay.
And then we've got our laundry room section over in the far corner over there. And then directly behind that, we've got 1 bedroom over here, 1 bedroom in the back over there,
Got it.
with kind of a shared closet space in the corner.
And then obviously windows out to the back.
Yeah, so that square right in the middle there is our window, and then this square right here is the other window for the other bathroom or bedroom.
Now in this wind zone, are we worried about impact at all?
No. So impact isn't typically required until you're in the 160 range or you're within a mile of the coast.
So you guys got to understand, when you're looking at the map of Florida, there's actually radiuses, if you will, half radiuses, if you will, of wind codes. So we're so far off the Gulf of America that we really don't have to worry about those codes. And we're so far off the Atlantic on the other side. This is actually an ideal spot to do that. So you're actually saving money on windows living in this location, because if you're anywhere near the Gulf, we're talking what, double, triple the cost in windows.
I will say these particular homeowners decided to go with impact windows just because of how many trees you see around us.
Understood.
You know, so even though you're not in a quote unquote impact zone for a mandated impact window, they still want the peace of mind. And realistically, with the amount of windows that we have in this house, I mean, we only have 2, 4, 6, 8 windows total. Well, plus our transoms up top. I didn't even point those out to you.
So you're going 8 foot on top, and then your transoms above that.
Yep.
So is this an angled transom too, or are you just going straight across?
Just straight across up there, because that's going to be a porch out front. Okay, we won't get a whole lot of light coming from that end. But if you see that top rail up there where we have kind of those 3 different boxes set up top,
yes,
those are all going to be transom windows.
Okay, all right, I see that.
Yep.
That's awesome. What do you call this, Nick, for the people that don't know your roof pitch elevation? Would this be a lean-to, a shed pitch?
We just call it a monoslope.
Monoslope.
Yep, one slope. We talk about it often in barndos, where if you have vaulted ceilings and we want all that loft that people want out of these barndos, that a lot of times our problem we run into is with the AC. So this is all going to be spiral duct, black spiral duct AC all the way through. That's basically elevated into that top corner, kind of where those transom windows are going to be. That brought up kind of an interesting design aspect to what we were doing, but they'll be running spiral duct through the living room on that side, then we're going to run it through this closet and pop out into this bedroom over here.
So it's exposed.
It's all going to be exposed.
And this is the metal spiral duct.
Yep.
So it's going to have a industry look.
Yeah, and so that's what they're going for
Industrial.
in this house, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of industrial look. They've got a lot of cool steampunk fixtures and stuff that they're bringing in. A lot of piping and copper. And first customer that I've dealt with in a long time that is doing all toggle switches instead of Decora switches.
Old school. Why is that?
Because they've got a fixture that they're mounting over them, decorative fixture that it's kind of like a old school throw lever switch Yeah.
That is cool.
It'll be
It's
pretty
hard
cool.
to find. You know what's really cool is like when you see the newer houses, then people go and they try to find antique plates.
Yep.
And I did that in my house after it flooded, and we went and searched for older style plates because everything was toggle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. So tell me about the dip here in between. And I know a lot of people talk about, well, you got a roof pitch here, but thank goodness the monoslope's going that way like you talked about. But what we have, a 612 pitch on this one or less than that, coming off this side.
Yeah, that's
for
a
probably
312.
Right. And you're coming off here. Now, does that cause erosion in between?
No, so what you're seeing out here with this in between, you do see some water runoff.
Correct.
That's come just because we don't have it kind of sodded down and all that soil locked in yet.
Right.
What we will be doing on this particular property is actually probably bringing in a couple more loads of dirt to try to level this out a little bit.
Gotcha.
Really, when we set all this up, it was to get the pad set to the right height, get everything poured, and then rather than put the dirt out there and get it, you know, messed up by all the tractors and all the heavy equipment that we have to bring through, we'll go ahead and kind of level that out because these customers have a four-legged friend that's going to be using this as kind of their dog run area.
So why the difference to see where you are, not giving Josh that depth perception of where you are and I am? Why the drop and why do we have to bring in so much dirt over here?
When we design most of these houses, we try to set our elevation based on road crest. Okay. So we try to get our houses to be at least level with the road out there. On certain lots, we can apply for exemptions to get out of those height requirements because I don't think people realize dirt's expensive.
Very expensive.
You know, I mean, the dirt that you see out here and the land clearing and everything that was involved was almost $30,000.
And it's shipped in. It's from a different,
all shipped
different part
in.
of the land.
Yep.
Notice the color, folks. Not very typical for this side of the country.
But it's all structural fill, right?
Yep.
So, you know, when you start getting into it, it packs. So we want
Dirt bikes, right? Dirt bike tracks and so forth. That's what you see.
Right. The name of the game when you're doing a lot of site clearing and site work is obviously grading so that you can avoid water issues. Okay, we don't want water pouring back towards the house. And then we also want to go ahead and try to limit the amount of dirt that we have to bring in just to reduce cost. What we'll end up doing on this, like I said though, is we'll fill all this in. It'll be a little bit more of a gradual slope between the two, so it's not so drastic. And then these customers are also putting sidewalks around both structures all the way around.
Nice. All right, well, I don't think you can get much more knowledge than that in one video. That was a ton of knowledge, and the difference between tube steel and red iron. And I will tell you, these customers have been great. I can't wait to see their final product. I can't wait to see their eclectic look like Nick was talking about. We got a lot more in store today. We're going on a tour of a few of our houses. Stay tuned. What? Stop filming me!